we know that the culture that is put forth, it makes it like it's okay amongst Black people. So I see that. But there are a lot of African Americans that would be thoroughly offended because of the history of that word.
Shalom YouTube family, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome to the family.
In today's video, we'll be discussing some misconceptions that Africans have about African Americans.
Let's get started.
So disclaimer, we know that it's not all Africans. It's going to be some people. Everybody thinks differently, but it's going to be some people that we're talking about. And these are common misconceptions that we have seen in multiple countries. So don't get all offended if you're not them. People get offended for stuff that doesn't apply to them. It doesn't make sense.
If it don't apply, let it fly.
The first misconception is that we are all rich. Now, I personally believe that this comes from just seeing on television all the things that Americans are always showing. But like I've said in a previous video, America is run on a debt system, so you can have a whole lot of stuff and not actually have any money. And a lot of people are probably one check away from being on the street.
Also, what some Africans don't understand is that the diaspora that's coming from America, a lot of times are coming because they're trying to escape America and they wasn't living a lavish lifestyle in America. And so the money that they're coming with, that's the money that they're needing to survive and not necessarily for tourism or anything like that. And one of the key indicators that the diaspora is not rich that's coming is that so many people have to end up going back to America because they end up running out of money. And so that just shows that if a person was rich, they wouldn't have those same issues as a lot of our people that are coming to Africa actually have. The next topic we're going to discuss is that we're looked at as white people or the same as white people, and that couldn't be further from the truth. For one, we didn't volunteer to go to America. It was like, hey, we want to get on a boat and just go there. We were taken as slaves, guys, brought on slave ships, and then we were tortured and we worked brutal hours throughout it's just crazy things, right, guys? So to think and to look at us as the same people that did that to us, it's crazy. That's like looking at you guys and saying that the colonizers that came are the same as you guys. I feel like, so when we get called things like Mzungu, which is Swahili for like white person, we kind of take offense to that because we're actually leaving America because of the harsh treatment we get from some of those people that you're saying we are.
Yeah, and I think that people don't understand, like, we're not even far removed from that struggle. Like, I know you guys see on the internet, they're still shooting Black people in the streets for little bits of nothing. Like, in the 60s, our parents were fighting for equality in the 60s. Like, my parents were born in the 60s. That's not that long ago. So, you know, you have to think about that. Also, in a lot of countries that we've been to, it's like you think of us the same as white people, but you don't treat us like white people. Like If we go into a store and a white person comes into the store, they gonna flock to that white person because they think they're gonna get whatever from them, and they just walk past us like we're not standing there. So I feel like even in your mind, you know that that's not even
the same people.
The truth. Yeah, we're not the same.
And we're not talking about all Africans, but we have seen this, and there's a lot of them that actually have this mindset, which is disheartening. Being in South Africa, I feel like the people understand a little bit more what we had to go through, and we don't get that as much because they went through apartheid. So I feel like they understand some of our struggles and the things that we went through. But everywhere else, I feel like they don't really understand. The next topic we want to discuss is how some Africans think all Black people are pretty much the same. Now, I know a lot of y'all get your idea of how Black people are from TV and hip hop and things like that, and some of those negative stereotypes you kind of place on everybody. For example, you see a lot of these rappers cussing and promoting violence and sagging and certain things that a lot of our people perceive to be negative. You think everybody kind of do the same thing and treat us all the same, but we aren't all like that. And some of the comments that we see in our comment sections on YouTube, it's kind of crazy. Just the ignorance that some people have about us. We had one guy literally tell us, we don't want you guys, Black Americans, to come because all you guys do is sag and we don't like trap music. It's like, come on, that's stereotype. Like, are you serious? That's what you think all Black people are? Come on now. It's just, even in the country that you're in right now, all the people are not the same. People have different interests and different just things that they like. So you can't generalize everybody and put them in a box.
The next misconception that some Africans have about African Americans is that we think we're better than Africans. And that's not true. A lot of us are coming back here because we feel like we are African. Like, we might have been stole back in the day, but we trying to come back and find our roots or put down some roots or whatever it may be. But I think that a lot of people just have that perception and then they put that on us, but that's not our thoughts and our feelings. And maybe it's probably more of the American thing than the African American thing, because America does kind of put forth this we're better than everybody persona, which is just stupid.
But you gotta think about this, even Black people in America are at the bottom. They're treated lower than any other class or race in America.
Right.
So coming here, we actually want to be immersed in you guys' culture. When you other nations or other foreigners come of a different nation, these guys usually build their own communities apart from the locals. When they hire locals, they treat them like garbage. Like, we heard many stories of like when like people that are going to work for them, whether it be help around the house or watching kids, that they don't even treat them like family. They can't even eat with them.
Right.
So I just feel like it's kind of a slap in the face when we come here, and that's the mindset that you guys have of us. Another misconception that some Africans have of Black Americans is that we don't have any culture at all. Now, that's pretty funny to me, because most of the countries we've actually been to, the way some of the Africans walk, the way they talk, the music that they listen to, and this the mindset that some of them have is what they get that from African American culture, hip hop culture, or whatever. So to say that we don't have a culture, you're literally walking in some of the things that we do, it's kind of crazy to me.
Right. Even when you go like past barbershops and stuff, there's always like African American rappers on the wall, on buses, on just like plastered everywhere, which we thought was strange when we first saw it. We were like, what? Why would they do that? But you know, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, well, we don't have it, but you really are immersing yourself in it. And the last misconception is that everyone's okay with being called the Nword. Now, we have had a lot of people, what's up, man? You know, and we aren't offended by it, for the simple fact that we know that the culture that is put forth, it makes it like it's okay amongst Black people. So I see that. But there are a lot of African Americans that would be thoroughly offended because of the history of that word. Like, obviously, it came from white people being racist and terrible, and some people have embraced it or whatever, and some people have not. So there are a lot of people that could be very offended by that, no matter who is saying it. If you're not African American, they may feel away.
So guys, this video is not to put anybody down or to talk trash about anybody, but simply just to educate some of you guys that might think of Black Americans in a certain light. And a lot of us take offense to some of the things that you have thought about us. So with that being said, family, we just want to thank you so much for watching us all the way through, and we want to say we love you. And as always, shalom.
Shalom.